The special thing about a portable brain scanner is that you can move around with it on. You can wear it like a helmet. I never imagined that this technology was possible. I always thought it was a pipe dream. I'd say this is a breakthrough that's changed the way we think about the brain and how the brain works. My name is Gareth Barnes, and I study the brain and the spinal cord, the central nervous system. I've known Matt since he was an undergraduate student.
I've always really enjoyed physics, and I found medical physics a way to use physics for something that's actually really important in the real world. Working with Gareth was always really enjoyable. When you're having fun with your friends in a lab, that's when you're at your most productive, I think.
He provides a lot of the enthusiasm, and I provide the age.
MEG stands for magnetoencephalography. What we do is measure magnetic fields that are generated by currents that flow through the brain.
The main clinical application is in planning epilepsy surgery. Often you get multiple seizures and there's one leading one, and you need to know to the millisecond which bit of the brain started the seizure before you operate. And you can plan the epilepsy surgery much more accurately.
Take a seat.
Thank you very much, thank you.
In traditional MEG, we use sensors called superconducting quantum interference devices. They're excellent, they're very, very sensitive to very small magnetic fields, but they have one key drawback, and that's that they need to be kept exceptionally cold to work, so minus 269 degrees. That obviously places a lot of limitations. You can't get them very close to the head because of the low temperatures, and they also need to be in a rigid helmet. So, for example, if you move your head relative to the sensors, then that will blur the magnetic field that you're measuring. So scanning, for instance, children in a conventional scanner is very difficult because they move around.
At the moment, the way that surgery is planned for children is actually through an invasive procedure where often electrodes are implanted in the brain.
When I do horse riding, it's just like my anxieties have just left my mind. So my name is Liberty. I've been diagnosed with epilepsy.
You started having seizures at the age of 4, and they started off as like a cramp in your leg. And the poor GP told you to eat more bananas because she thought you were low in potassium.
So the amount of brain surgeries that I've had up to now would be, is it 2, 3?
I'm not sure you'd still be alive if you hadn't had the brain surgery, because, you know, Liberty was having 30 seizures a day. You know, the toughest bit actually was the diagnostic part, which was the intracranial EEG, where they were trying to find exactly where the lesion was. Because that was 10 days sitting in a bed with these long wires, you know, in her brain, and all those EEGs and MRIs and time off school and away from your friends, which I think really affects a child's life, actually.
I'm really excited about this new brain scanning thing. I think that if it was around when I was younger, it would definitely make my journey so much easier.
We were lucky to get funded by the Wellcome Trust. Key to our story is this small piece of Lego, and what we were able to say to them was, well, we think we're going to be able to build an array of sensors about this size. That means we can put lots of the sensors all around the head in a helmet and measure people as they're moving around naturally. This was one of the first headcasts that we made, where got lots of slots for sensors, and what we realized was any slight movement of those sensors really messed things up. And so what we've got, you can see the Velcro at the back that will stick the head to a bench, and Matt and his team would record from me as we stuck the one sensor into these 13 separate slots.
And I remember you lying in there and you were like bolted to the floor and you were drinking coffee through a straw. This was one of the first helmets that we used in children, so it is just a bike helmet. So we cut some slots in the bike helmet, put the sensors through the slots. It was something that children were used to wearing, but when we tried to put enough holes in a bike helmet to hold sensors everywhere, it fell apart. So this was supposed to look like a bike helmet, it was supposed to feel like a bike helmet for children. Then they can sort of move around freely and be scanned.
The really good thing about the 5 years of funding from Wellcome is that it allowed us to be much more ambitious. Originally, we just intended to build something that might work, and then with 5 years gave us the opportunity to build something that we were able to show actually did work, and did work clinically. So at Young Epilepsy, they're doing very exciting work of scanning young children in collaboration with Great Ormond Street Hospital, and you can see how it would be a tremendous benefit to them. It would be really amazing to know that we've done something to help them out.
Right now, the technology is used in research. It's not used clinically because it requires medical device approval. We're working really hard on getting that medical device approval. Following that, it will be able to be used to influence clinical decisions.
It's really comfortable, actually.
Yeah?
Really, really comfortable. It's like having a cloud on your head, actually.
Nice. And they're designed around bike helmets, so it is supposed to be really easy to wear and easy for people to use.
Imagine how this would have helped you, Libby, when you were having all your diagnostic stuff for your surgery. So Liberty had an intracranial EEG, and that was possibly the most invasive and traumatic part of the brain surgery, and I'm guessing this would have meant that she didn't have to have that.
You wouldn't have to have that.
I think that I'd find this so much better.
So if I were to go back 10 years and somebody could show me 10 years ago what we're doing now, I'd think it would look like science fiction. It really would. The idea that we can meg scan people while they're stood up, walking around, yeah, it would have seemed like something from Star Trek.
I think it was very brave of Wellcome to fund us, especially when we came in with a Lego cube to start with, and they were taking a risk on us, and I'm very glad they did, and I'd say it certainly has paid off.
I am excited for the future. I hope that in a few years' time we'll see patients starting to benefit and lives being changed based on the technology.